was, how do I go from various dimensions of creativity? And for me, I think creativity, sorry, I kind of like just, you know, rephrased your question. But I think that creativity and the means to express yourself is all the same thing. Again, like I was saying before, I was trying to draw the parallel between science and art. It's really the same thing. You are approaching, you know, what is seemingly like, you know, a foreign landscape to figure out where you fit in. And so when I wanted to do it, I was offered a chance to do a chair. I mainly just took the metaphor of a concept and just sort of did whatever I had to do to manipulate and bring it into physical fruition. It's no different than writing a verse or playing a song. And the shortcut to that is, it's just like your room. I don't know if you guys are probably still living at home, but your room. I don't know if you've lived in your house the entire time or you've moved around. But if for some of you that have moved around, when you got to your new place and your mom and dad had said, okay, here's your spot, figure it out. You knew. You knew. The dimensions in the room spoke to you and told you where you needed to put your bed and how it was going to fit, or what the problems are going to be, because the energy is going to feel different when you get in there. And then you start to realize like how you're going to decorate your walls. That's really how it works when you make a chair or when you write a verse or you play a song. You're shifting these moving parts into a place where it feels right for you. And when it's done, like Picasso, like Jay-Z, like Dr. Ramachandran, neuroscientist over at, you know, the Department of Neuroscience in San Diego, they all step back and go, it's done. No more questions?
You all the way in the back. Stand up. Yep, you stand up and scream it out.
I got a question for Diggy.
Yeah.
Sure. I know you're coming out with a new clothing line, and I want to know what inspires you. When you make your clothing, what do you think about when you're making it?
Chivalrous Culture is my sneaker line that comes out in August. And I guess it's just inspiration all around me, from colors and just everything, you know, all around me is what really inspires me to do what I do. And that's why both me and P, you know, we think that, you know, really just be yourself. And that's what should be a reflection of whatever you do, whether it's music, clothing. That's what inspires me.
Who would you say is yourself?
Me?
Right. Wait, say it again.
What would you say is yourself? When you say
My
make it yourself, what is Diggy?
Diggy?
That's a tough question.
That's a big question.
That's a really tough question.
I guess just a creative being.
What keeps us motivated? Of course, my mother is a strong motivational force. My father as well. My family. But you kind of don't do it for them. That's like you do a job for them. This really has to be about you. Because if you spend your time doing things for other people, you're going to look back and go, well, what about me? And it sounds like you're being selfish, but I say this all the time. When you're on an airplane and they say, if something happens, you know, the oxygen mask comes down. Who do they tell you to put, who should you put the mask on first? The person next to you? Why do you put it on yourself? That's exactly right. So if you don't pay attention to who you are, you cannot possibly be good to the next person. And if you could, ingeniously, it won't last for so long. Kiddo, I mean, you guys are here, so you've heard it. But I saw that there was an overwhelming amount of kids when our president was, when he became the candidate. I saw so many like junior high and high school kids that were like so concerned about the science of politics and how it was going to affect their lives. But I just noticed that there was no real platform for them. So we kind of just jumped in and just did it. I mean, think about it, man. I mean, look what it yielded us. It yielded us a room. I mean, of course, it's cool to see all the kids online and, you know, your blogs, and it's all super cool. But there's nothing like tangibility. There's nothing like seeing people and shaking their hands and having your questions answered and getting interesting questions to see where these minds are at this day and age. It's so cool. We got to get him though.
All right, go ahead.
When I met Nigo, I was blown away. I thought, whoa, here's a guy who's doing everything I ever wanted to do. And I was like, man, I get it. It's like I've been doing it in music, but I just haven't been putting it in practice with everything else. And he was kind of the guy that pushed me out into the other ethers, like, don't be afraid, go get it. You have the idea, you can blueprint it and make it happen.
He's kind of like a big kid as well.
Absolutely. As you guys all should be, kid, adult. Yes, yes. His question was, with so many various entities, how do I divvy up the time and what gets the priority? I don't have much of a social life, but I'm cool with that. But, no, I know it doesn't, I know, but I don't have much of a social life. I don't. You don't have time. You have things that you have to do and have to get done. And at the same time, I'm having a ball. So that's kind of like that's kind of like the longer part of the answer. And the other part is that you're just motivated. You're motivated to do these things. It's like someone, you know, you could call me a workaholic, or you could say that I just sort of chase my passions. So that doesn't really leave a lot of room for hanging out and, you know, and I'm not saying that hanging out is not good and could not be fruitful for you. I'm just saying, like, focus is very important. At this day and age, well, at this part of your life, you know, from, in my opinion, from 12 to I want to say maybe 25, you should be so focused so that when the winter comes, your cupboard is full. Winter meaning, you know, in your 40s, 50s, and that's not a bad place to be because I'm 37. I'll be 40 in 3 years. I'm having a wonderful time. But you know what? What I want to do is I'll be social then. I'll hang out then. But focus on your life.
Right here in the middle.
In my mind, for me, was a tumultuous time because I had so many things. My mind was just teeming with ideas. And as a producer, I kind of mixed the functions of being a producer and being an artist a little too much. Half of it was singing, half of it was rapping. When I went out to perform, it was kind of like you're rapping, you have on these chains, and then like, you know, and I know, the annoying chains. And then, you know, you sing an R&B record and you're like standing up there like Slick Rick. It was just kind of unthought out. And I just had like, you know, I didn't realize my power and my ability to just do anything I wanted to do. And it goes to show you that you have to be careful for what you ask for, because I got it. And it was cool, and the album did okay. And it's funny because a lot of our fans, they really like that record because of some of the introspective that was there. But I don't want to be an R&B guy. Like, I don't, that's not my job. My job is to make records for guys that are really good at that. And to me, being good at it is not just being good at it, but wanting to do that. So that was a tough time. If there's ever a solo situation for me, it's probably going to be more soundtrack based. That was a hint. I'm sorry, or a score.
Okay, let's see.
We're skipping him. He's.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Let's get him. You guys have good, hard questions.
For sure. I usually get like 5. 10 is big.
Yeah, 10 is tough, man. Could you imagine like what's happened in the last 10 years?
Yes.
There's something called the iPad,
And then the iPhone 4 with the video chat.
right?
Crazier.
And the funny thing is, it's like 10 years ago, when we were in Japan, we saw the phones where it was like live video. They didn't even have iChat then, or Skype, but they just had the technology. So it's tough to really